Cross chop, we are back, baby. John is back from jury duty. That is John Owning of PFF. I am Nick Harris of the 4 Star Telegram. And although we are back, the Cowboys defense is not, unless you think that they were already trash to begin with, and they have been here all along. But here we are, Cross Chop Podcast, episode 19. Shout out to producer Caden for getting this set up. John, first off, I love hearing people's jury duty stories because sometimes it's fascinating and other times it's kind of sad. We were talking a little bit before the show. It sounds like it was more so sad than fascinating for you.
Depressing, terrible, infuriating. Yeah. All of the above. It was literally one of the worst experiences of my life. The literal least efficient process possible, given what we were doing there. It was just so frustrating. So frustrating. And the fact that, you talk to people that jury duty selection, it's one day. You go in, you have to wait a while, but it's just one day. Just put up with the suck for one day. I was there for 3 goddamn days, and I got lucky that I'm not still there right now. There's people from my group still there as we speak right now. God damn it. Oh.
So I assume since it was just jury selection, you're not allowed to say anything about the case, right?
Yeah, I can't say anything about
it. Okay, maybe I'll ask you in a couple months.
We'll it's not the craziest story, but it's definitely a case that's going to be going on for like a month, supposedly, is what they told us. So,
man, if you had gotten chosen and no cross chop for a month, man, that would have been rough. It would have been rough around here.
Dude, I would have been skeleton and bones, skin and bones, dude. I would have been gone. I might have transferred to another country, entered the transfer portal, see what Czechoslovakia has going on over there.
Yeah, well, let's. I wonder if Czechoslovakia has anything for this Cowboys defense, because we'll start with this Carolina collapse, and I like what Caden has built up for us here. Look, man, the Carolina Panthers are a physical football team, and I saw that on film last week, and saying like, hey, man, the Cowboys have played this Panthers team each of the last 3 years. This is not the same Cowboys team that they saw in 23 or excuse me, not the same Panthers team that they saw in 23 or 24, but it was still a game you should have won. It was still a game that you had in grasp, and you really didn't believe the Cowboys were going to lose until that field goal went through to win it for Carolina. The most concerning thing for me is the run defense. You knew the pass defense was going to be bad. You have an expectation of how things are laid out on the defensive side of the ball right now. But the run defense, you expected it to be at least what it had been to this point in the year, where about 21st in the league. After that bad of a performance against Rico Dowdle and the Panthers, you now have the next to worst, the 31st best run defense in the NFL, right next to your 32nd pass defense. This defense just somehow finds new ways to get worse every week. But the run defense, man, Rico Dowdle, he called them out and then he backed up his shit talk. And even after the game, he didn't even have one bit of emotion. He just said they wasn't buckled up, and that was it. And that was the story of the game, man. But overall, John, concerns, positives, lay them out for me. But I definitely want to focus on this run defense here in the next segment. Anything other than that you look at and you're like, damn, man, this is going to be something that's going to hold them back throughout the year.
Just an abject failure on every front, whether it's, the players, the personnel, the coaching, the scheme, all of it on defense was really an abject failure. And then on offense, they picked really the worst time to have their worst drive of the game. It was just really came down to that. It was a really I questioned Shoddy on the first play call on the first screen. I think he was getting too cute, but the second and third plays were just check downs. They weren't. A lot of people ascribed those to Shoddy as well, and I don't think that is correct. I think that was just given the defense that the Panthers had called. That was really open. I went back and watched. I didn't see anything like particularly that Dak could have attacked in those situations that would have provided a better opportunity to find success in those situations. It was just a really bad drive, just inopportune play call to start, and then the Panthers played really good defense that second and that third down, so it was really unfortunate. The defensive side of the ball, we're going to touch on the run defense because there is a lot going on there that was really bad. But I really, I kind of want to focus on that last fourth down play that a lot of people have talked about with Eberflus and, Kenneth Murray and Deron Bland playing off. And I understand the thought process of you're trying to goad them into throwing a different spot because you're trying to run basically kind of a trap coverage concept where you're trying to vice, with Kenneth Murray and Deron Bland. But it just makes zero sense to me why you would align Kenneth Murray knowing that on the opposite side of the center of where it's going to hit and at the line of scrimmage. Why would you? That just makes no sense if you're trying to trap or goad that throw. That why you would make your middle linebacker have to cover the most distance possible to get there. And on top of that, a lot of things that people are ignoring is to the bottom side of the screen as well. You can see the cornerback to the bottom side against the slot. He has what's called outside leverage. And why does a cornerback have outside leverage? There's only one reason that a cornerback will ever have inside leverage when they're not playing, when they're in man coverage and not playing straight up. It is because they expect help to that side. If they're lined close to the sideline, it's because they think they have help with the sideline being able to push them out. And that's kind of like the 12th defender for the defense. If they're lined with outside leverage, meaning that they're aligned on like the outside eye of the receiver, that means they can funnel them inside because they're expecting help to the inside. And as you see Kenneth Murray, where he backs up, he squares up. The reason why he squares up is because he has to be able to react to his left or to his right, because he has to provide help to both potential slant opportunities. So that is why you see him hesitate a little bit. He has to hesitate there because he has to sit back and read what Young is going to do. And that's going to bring a little bit of a lag into the process no matter what. I know Young, right when he gets the ball, he looks there immediately and goes. But that's going to, when Murray is having to read the quarterback's eyes, that is going to bring a little bit of a lag time. And that's what causes him here to be late. So it's just Eberflus putting too much on the plate of his defenders, asking him to do too much. That's something that you ask Fred Warner to do. So one of the best linebackers in the NFL, not Kenneth Murray, who, in my opinion, is the worst starting linebacker in the entire NFL. He is just, we'll get into it in the run defense. He's just incompetent there. He's not that much better in coverage. He's really fast. He has athleticism, and I think that's why so many defensive coordinators seem to fall in love with him every time he becomes available. But it was just a really frustrating play call by Eberflus, who's just making it exceedingly difficult for his team to succeed. He has seen this defense have struggled the entire game. And in the most important situation, he is expecting his defense to execute at the highest level, at an elite level. He's not asking him to execute at an average NFL level to be successful. He's asking his worst players to operate at an elite level, like a Fred Warner level, to have success. And that is just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. And I cannot believe that Eberflus is such a goddamn bad defensive coordinator that he's making me defend Kenneth Murray of all people. God damn it.
I also want to touch on the run offense. It was the worst that we've seen all season. I just beat at the point of attack on both sides of the ball. The line of scrimmage was won on both sides by the Carolina Panthers. Honestly, kind of a surprise he even had a chance to win that game, considering how dominant the Panthers were at the line of scrimmage. You could talk about the run offense. I think in the middle, TJ Bass, I think, finally had a bad game. And, Brock Hoffman did not have his strongest effort either. Tyler Guyton in run block has continued to draw huge concerns. You're getting Tyler Booker back this week. That's going to help in the run game for sure. You're going up against the Commanders defense, which we'll get to later on, that gave up quite a bit of rushing yards to DeAndre Swift on Monday night. But you have concerns based on this team is supposed to hang their hat on being physical, and they were not physical in this game. They got out-physicaled by the Carolina Panthers, John. And that can happen. And I see that in both run games, not only on defense, but on offense as well. Were there good things? Yes. George Pickens, man, Jesus. I think with what he's been able to provide with CeeDee Lamb potentially coming back into the fold this week, that's another thing we'll get into. It's going to be able to help a lot of things for this offense. It's going to add an extra layer with George Pickens' connection with Dak. But moving forward, there's so much concern at the point of attack and the physicality.
Yeah, Derek Brown was a monster for the Carolina Panthers up front. He was really playing up and down the defensive line. He was playing 5 tech, 4 tech, 3 tech. He even played some 2-eye, played a little bit of 1. He was all over the place, and he was just manhandling a lot of the Cowboys offensive linemen. He threw Terrence Steele to the ground once, threw around Brock Hoffman, threw Guyton once. I think he even tossed Tyler Smith once, if I remember correctly. He was just a monster up front. Bobby Brown was also very effective for the Carolina Browns up front. Carolina Browns.
May as well be.
Yeah, with Derek and Bobby Brown over there dominating the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But Brock Hoffman really struggled. I actually thought TJ Best had a little bit of a better performance than you did, but it would still, obviously not to the point where it made that much of a difference. We're just like splitting hairs at that point. Yeah. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating when your defensive line, when they have 4 replacements, operates better than it did when you have only, what was it, 1 replacement? Brock Hoffman was the only Brock Hoffman and Bass, obviously.
Yeah, Hoffman and Bass.
But that was frustrating from the running game situation. I think this was the first game that the Cowboys weren't able, when the Cowboys tried to scheme up opportunities for effective runs, it didn't work out well. The wham, the trap concepts, they weren't working that well. The pulling, when they were going power, counter, those type of things, when they were trying to get their offensive linemen on the move, it wasn't really working. The Panthers were just doing a fantastic job of jacking up, resetting their line of scrimmage, and really getting off blocks. I think that was the biggest difference between the Cowboys and the Panthers. Is the Panthers defensive line, not only were they resetting the line of scrimmages, they were getting off of blocks and making jobs easy on their linebackers. They were getting that penetration, making Javonte Williams have to change his path of direction, make him bubble out of the hole, all of those type of things. So I think it was just, the Cowboys got completely dominated up front, like you said, on both sides of the ball. And that's really disheartening to see, because the Cowboys have gone against some good fronts, thus far, even though they did get some injury luck and some spitting luck throughout the season. But I think this was the first time we saw all season when a team had a really, really scary, effective interior defensive lineman in Derek Brown, and the Cowboys weren't able to nullify them with any of the schemes or things that they were trying to do.
Yeah, let's talk the run defense now. With Kenny Clark, it was probably the worst game he's had as a Cowboy. The get off, the run lane discipline from the linebackers and Shamar James and Kenneth Murray in this game was not good at all. Rico Dowdle on the first play of the game, 9 yards, multiple times.
What the crazy thing is he had 200 yards and he didn't have a run over 20. It was just consistent, just chunk. Usually when somebody runs for 200, they got like a 60-yarder baked in there somewhere.
And that's honestly, dare I say, that's a credit to Donovan Wilson and being able to not let it become a bigger gain. But even Donovan Wilson had his lapses in run defense at times too. But it's disheartening, because this defense for years has had this issue. It looked like that Bills game in 2023 when James Cook was just taking them whatever he wanted out of that Cowboys defense. You can go back to last year with Alvin Kamara in week 2. It looked like that as well. But yet when that trade was made and Kenny Clark was acquired, it was for run defense. Apparently not. And the run defense concerns, I think they stem from not only the interior. You look at the edge department, you're not getting anything out of some of these edges right now. Marshawn Nealon, Sam Williams, where are these guys?
Marshawn Nealon getting dominated by a dude 20 pounds lighter than him.
What is going on with Marshawn Nealon? Because that's another one we haven't probably put enough heat on as far as being a second-round pick and not living up to expectation is Marshawn Nealon. Sam Williams deserves to be in that category. He's probably the lead of that category absolutely right now. Marshawn Nealon has firmly put himself right back into that category as well. You could look at the interior. You have not gotten your best 6-game stretch out of Osa Digizua in run defense here to start the year. Pass rush, I think you've gotten something there for sure. But when you have a $22 million defensive tackle, you need him to show up in the run game. He hasn't been able to do that. And then your linebackers, we've talked enough shit about the linebackers to understand where we stand with, Kenneth Murray, even Shamar James. There's been good times, but there's also been a lot of bad. There's a lot of rookie stuff that he's having to deal with. Is there any way to fix it, John? And where does the problem stem from in your eyes?
I think I've come to the realization, but I've really come to the conclusion, really diving into the run defense woes the last few weeks. And I think the run defense woes are a personnel issue, whereas the coverage things are a lot of scheme issue, in my opinion, and really fall on Eberflus. Obviously, both camps deserve blame for both facets, but I think those are the ones that deserve the lion's share of the blame. Defensively against the run, I think the only way that it improves is if you get better personnel. You have if you want to have a competent run defense, Kenneth Murray cannot be your starting green dot linebacker. He cannot be your Mike linebacker. He cannot be your Will linebacker. He processes at the speed of a sundial. It is so. I multiple GIFs and still images from the game on my Twitter yesterday of Shamar James, a rookie. What is this? His second game, third game? Is it, Nick?
It is his third game, second one starting.
He is processing stuff quicker than Kenneth Murray, who's been in this league for 7 freaking years. Yeah. So I talk a lot about fallback run fits. And for those of you that don't know, fallback run fits is basically whenever you have somebody on one side of the formation coming across to the other side of the formation post snap. That could be a guard pulling. It could be a tight end sift blocking. But what that does is that removes a gap from the initial side and brings that gap to the other side. So your linebackers have to adjust their fit post snap. So they have to what's called fall back. Yep. And there are multiple examples that I posted of where Shamar James is pointing, hey, fall back, fall back, fall back. And Kenneth Murray won't move for a second or two until after that. His processor is just it's so maddeningly slow that it's just impossible to have good run defense when arguably, maybe outside of the interior defensive line, the Mike and Will linebackers are the most important for your run defense to be consistent and true and consistently effective. And he is just not playing and processing things at a quick enough rate where that's even possible. There are just so many plays where there are open, unaccounted for gaps because Kenneth Murray is so slow. And then after you take in all of Kenneth Murray's slow processing plays, and then you factor in, obviously, Shamar James as a rookie, he's going to have a couple slow processor plays. Obviously, not as much as Kenneth Murray, but he's going to have a couple. So then it just compounds. And then you have Maris Liufau, who he's not the fastest processor. He's faster than Kenneth Murray, but he's also going to have a couple plays where he's slow processing a little bit when he gets misdirection or maybe a look that he hasn't seen or that he's not really prepared for. Things that are more common that you see that you can live with from your second-tier linebackers if it's happening as occasional as it does for them. But when you have someone like Murray who does it so consistently, adding in those other processing moves from your other linebackers on top of it just makes it impossible to play good run defense. And we're not even getting in, and I haven't even gotten into the part about Kenny Clark putting in his worst performance as a Cowboy. He was getting moved by double teams all over the place. It was just, his pad, I don't know, I almost thought that he had like a knee or a hip issue in this game because his pad level was just so atrocious throughout, and it was allowing him to get displaced really consistently and was really, really frustrating to watch, really. And then I echo everything you say about the edge defenders. Dante Fowler's not giving you really anything against the run. I've talked about Sam Williams. Why is he starting over James Houston? They say it's run defense. Well, show me the goddamn good plays on run of him defending the run that's making James Houston sit on the bench. Because when James Houston's in, despite being the bad run guy, he's doing way better than what Sam Williams is typically doing on those plays. Yep. He's not the reason why you're getting gashed when he's in there. It doesn't make any sense to me. The only guy up front that I thought was playing adequate run defense is our guy, Donovan Ezeraku. Yep. And this is a guy who was brought in the rush the passer, and he's playing your best run defense, arguably, on your entire defensive line. I think Solomon Thomas did the occasional good thing as well.
That's an indictment right there.
It's really hard. But it's just a comedy of errors right now. And it's just so frustrating to watch and study, play in and play out and play in and play out. Ugh.
I'm going to go through this front seven depth chart really quick. And just really quick, yes or no. Would you keep him in 2026? Sam Williams.
No.
James Houston.
Yes.
Jadeveon Clowney.
I mean, from what he's shown, no.
No. Kenny Clark.
Yes.
Jay Toya.
I mean, yes, because he's so cheap and kind of have to. So
Mozzie Smith.
No.
Osa Digizua.
Yeah.
Solomon Thomas.
Yeah.
Dante Fowler.
I mean, not in this role. I would keep him in a, like I've been saying since the beginning, a designator pass rusher role, a pass rush specialist role, a third down, pin your ears back and go role. But if he's playing too many first and second downs, no.
Do you make anything out of him being top 10 in the NFL in quick pressures right now, under 3 seconds?
No.
I was curious for your opinion. Marshawn Nealand.
I mean, no. Given the way he's playing, not right now. No.
Donovan Ezeraku.
Yes.
Donovan Ezeraku. That's 6. Pretend this is a 6 right here. Shamar James.
I mean, same reason as Jay Toya, yes, just because he's so young and so cheap. Yeah.
Damone Clark.
No, and no for Murray, no for Sanborn.
Leah Fowl.
No for his defense. No for his defense. I mean,
okay.
No.
Okay, so we just went through 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 players. We're keeping 7. That's how bad that this defensive front is, I think, in general. When they are going to have to overhaul it completely. And it's going to have to be an entire defensive draft, unless you find a right tackle that you like. Although I think Nate Thomas is probably the future at right tackle. You have to be able to pick every single pick in this next draft on defense, and it specifically in the front, because I think the front is giving you arguably more issues than the secondary. And we've talked about how much we don't trust the secondary either. This front is bad. It is just simply bad.
And forget the draft. We need to get some people in free agency. We need to carpet bomb it.
I was talking realistically. Realistically.
They say they have all this money because of the percent of Micah Parsons, and you can get 17 players with the price that they got that they saved for him. Use that money, Jerry. Let's go. Give me a couple butt kickers up there. Give me a couple ass kickers.
Let's talk about some of these injury updates. So going into this week,
good news for once.
Good news for once. Cowboys are expected to get CeeDee Lamb back from his high ankle sprain, expected to get Kevontae Turpin back from his foot sprain, expected to get Tyler Booker back from his high ankle sprain. Today in the practice report, every player on the 53-man roster that currently has 52 players on it practiced. That's the first time that's happened all season. I'm also expecting them to potentially sign Jonathan Mingo back to the active roster this weekend. That might be able to help you out in some certain areas and run block around the edge. But I with these injury additions, it's going to be able to help on the offensive side. I asked Schottenheimer today because I was curious. You already have the number 1 offense in the NFL. How much better can it be with CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin back into the mix? George Pickens, I think, laid it out perfectly. He's like, there was at times where, over the course of the last couple of weeks where I was having to stay on one side and do one thing because I was the only one that could do it. But now with CeeDee and Turpin back in the mix, we can all move around again. And it's going to make this offense a lot more free-flowing. That's scary, considering what George Pickens just did to that Panthers secondary, which I like that Panthers secondary. It's one of the better pass defenses statistically over the course of the last couple of years under Ivero. And George Pickens had his way with them. And so the offensive side certainly going to get a boost. Tyler Booker going to be able to help boost the run game. On the defensive side, DeMarvion Overshown, it looks like that Vegas game, that Vegas Monday night game. I think that's when you're going to see DeMarvion Overshown back into the mix. The thing about it, though, Jerry has talked about wanting to be active at the deadline. If they are active at the deadline, me and John, we've already talked about getting a linebacker. So let's say they get a starting caliber linebacker, a good linebacker that we both can agree on, hey, this guy rocks. Overshown comes back, and you don't have to put as much pressure on him to perform, but he is back in that second level, and he's able to flash his athleticism a little bit. That's potentially something that can help out. Is it going to be the end-all, be-all savior? Absolutely not. But I think it can take this defense from being 32nd to potentially 22nd, and that's all you need. That's all you need.
Yes, 100%. 100% agree. I mean, the Cowboys don't need dominant defense. They just need, competent defense. They need not terrible defense. They need, hold them under 27 type defense. Not we're not asking for, the 85 Bears out here. We just need competence. We need competence. You're not going to let them score almost every time they touch the ball type defense. It's just, I really think but I do think that bringing in a linebacker would make a bigger difference than people will realize, just because of how poor the play has been there this entire season. And just going from arguably the worst linebacking group to the NFL to maybe you get a Demario Davis, and then you have and DeMarvion Overshown, you have a maybe slightly above average linebacker group. That is a giant upgrade. And that can allow you to play, 22nd rank, 22nd out of 32 level defense in the NFL, in the entire NFL, and playing that defense. It's just, the thing is will Jerry be proactive enough to find that person, or is he going to be the type that is just, like he said, he's going to sit back and when my phone rings, that's when you get the best deal and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, you need to be proactive and go target these guys, in my opinion, if you want to get the level of linebacker that is actually going to make a difference. Because if you go in and you trade for I don't even know, like some backup linebacker who's, playing for someone, or somebody who, like, if you go and trade for a Logan Wilson from the Bengals who just got benched, that's not going to make that big of a difference. I hate to break it to you. Like, he's going to be better than Kenneth Murray, obviously, but he's not so much better that it's going to allow the defense to jump from 32nd to 22nd. It's going to be like from 32nd to like 29th.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Schottenheimer today, when asked what he needs to see from CeeDee Lamb to throw him out on the field on Sunday, what he needs to see from him in practice, he said, if he's breathing, that's it.
Yeah. You have Cy Henderson asked a good question in the chat. What's going on with Perion Winfrey? That I'm actually kind of interested in that as well.
It sounds more like an IR stash at this point. I don't know why you wouldn't swap him out for Mozzie Smith at this point, or because he got benched once again in this game against the Panthers. Jay Toya took his not his starting spot, but his rotation spot. Mozzie Smith was inactive. They keep flipping these guys back and forth because not either of them can prove that they can bring anything to the field. We're at the point now to where Perion Winfrey, it's time to give him a shot. You owe it to the guy, and I understand not wanting to cut ties with a first-round pick. I understand not wanting to cut ties with a rookie that you just drafted that you still feel like has potential. I get it. Figure out a way to put Perion Winfrey on the roster. That's me. But he is healthy. He's ready to go.
100% agree.
Let's dive into this matchup between the Cowboys offense and the Washington defense. And, man, watching this game on Monday night against the Bears, it was fascinating because DeAndre Swift, who I have called DeAndre Stiff over the course of the last couple of years, that's how bad he's been. 7.7 yards per carry against this Washington front. This front, it surprises me. It's not as good as I remember it being last year. I think there are a couple names that are not in the mix anymore. And, I think you're trusting Von Miller to be the Von Miller of the past, and that's not working out. Dorrance Armstrong is not healthy and did not practice today. If he's not playing, then you're looking at a starting group of Preston Smith and Jalen Holmes potentially around the edge. I do like their interior guys in Javon Kinlaw and Daron Payne, but also on that same token, 7.7 yards per carry against that Bears offensive line and that Bears running back, not good at all. Their secondary, that's where they're going to hang their hat on. I love Trey Amos coming out of Ole Miss, the rookie this year. Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Sanders still, I think, is one of the best nickel corners in the league. I love what he brings. Jeremy Reeves and Quan Martin, these guys are competent safeties, and they proved that this year. Overall, John, your holes that you see on this Commanders defense, is it similar as to what I've pointed out here? And where do you feel like CeeDee's addition can really help the most in this game?
Yeah, I think I want to attack their defensive line everywhere that Daron Payne isn't, basically. I'm attacking all of those dudes, especially if Dorrance Armstrong's not in there. I'm attacking Preston Smith. I'm attacking Jacob Martin, Jalen Holmes. I'm attacking Jalen. I'm attacking Javon Kinlaw. Yeah. Javon Kinlaw is to me, he's like the Sam Williams of the defensive tackle. He's so undisciplined. He's so undisciplined. He'll jump out of his gap. He'll be in a line. He'll be locked up with a blocker, and he'll discard into the wrong gap, and the running back will run to his primary gap. Those type of things. So those are the guys that I want to attack up front, and I totally agree. I think Bobby Wagner is someone who can be attacked in the passing game. He's not quite the same fleet of foot as he used to be back in his better days.
Yeah.
So I think attacking him in the passing game would be really, really wise. It's something that Kyle Shanahan has consistently done every time he's gone against Bobby Wagner since he was with the Rams, I believe, is attack Bobby Wagner in coverage consistently. And that's been a very, very profitable scheme for him. And I think Shoddy would be wise to take that and do it again. I think this is a game for Javonte Williams to get back in, because I really think that his ability to break tackles and run strong is going to be especially effective against this front. I think that he can turn some of those, 5-yard runs into 8-yard runs into 9-yard runs. That'll start stacking up and be really successful and allow the Cowboys to get their play action passing game going, which can create, as we've seen throughout the year, can create really big voids in between the zones that the Cowboys, and especially guys, like Ryan Flanoy, Turpin, CeeDee, Pickens, they can all take advantage of those situations. So that's kind of like how I think is the best way to attack this Dan Quinn-led defense.
I'm glad you mentioned Flanoy, because with these guys coming back, you still got to figure out a way to get the ball with Flanoy. He proved that in these last couple of weeks that he can be a reliable target. He can be reliable taking some handoffs as well. Put the ball into Ryan Flanoy's hands at least 3 or 4 times and see what the pay end is on the back end. I want to see West Coast shoddy in this game. I do, with the linebacking core that they have not being as athletic as it has been in the past. They run a lot of man coverage, similar to how Dan Quinn did during his time in Dallas. Really put some stress on these corners to run the length of the field, or run the width of the field, I guess you should say. In week 2, we saw a lot of West Coast shoddy against the Giants. I want to see some West Coast shoddy here against the Commanders. It's really going to be able to allow CeeDee Lamb to get back into his comfort zone, where I feel like he would be best across the middle of the field. George Pickens, it would put him back into that role. Kevontae Turpin, there's going to be some opportunities there. I would love to see this offense spread out and just run across the middle of the field and really put stress on this man defense scheme from the Commanders. But I'm glad you mentioned Javonte Williams as well. It's going to be an opportunity for him. If they can get this run established early on, I mean, it's weird. I said it earlier today. With the Cowboys offense playing the way it is, you can't count them out of any game in the NFL. There's not one team that you could point at and say, oh, the Cowboys for sure lose that game because of the Cowboys offense. On the flip side, there is no team in the NFL that you say, oh, the Cowboys for sure win that game because of how bad the Cowboys defense is. So it's one of the harder teams that I've covered as far as predicting what is actually going to happen as far as the end result goes, because of that Jekyll and Hyde, both sides of the ball. I'm like, you mentioned that in our group chat a couple days ago. That's exactly what it is. But when I look at this Commanders game, and I feel like you could say that for any team across the league that the Cowboys are going to play this year, if the offense plays to their standard and the defense just gives you competent level success, then they should win this game.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think this is a game for the Cowboys. I mean, like you said, the Jekyll and Hyde-ness about this Cowboys game makes it really difficult. But I think, a division game, I think, really helps because of the familiarity with the opponent, familiarity with the coach. I think that helps them to play to their potential. But I'm always going to pick the Cowboys just because I'm not a glutton for punishment. Why would I pick against them when I don't get paid to make the selection? So why would I be unbiased? I'm going to be biased. But, I'm really worried about, confidently predicting that the Cowboys can win this game just because of how up and down they are. And we never know what we're going to get from this team. You know what you're going to get from the offense, but the defense, has just been consistently bad. And it's just one of those things. Is the offense going to be able to overcome that this time or not? And it's just really hard to tell. And then the thing that really worries me, especially against, going against, I know we're talking about Dallas offense, Washington defense, but for this defense going against that Washington offense, I'm really worried about Jaden Daniels, just having a field day against this Cowboys defense with both his feet and his arm, and especially with Terry McLaurin coming back to practice this week. It's going to be a scary situation, and I'm not sure that –
no pun intended.
Yeah. Scary Terry. But I'm just not sure that the Cowboys offense is going to be able to keep up. It's just going to – I think this game is really going to come down to what defense can get those 1 or 2 timely stops. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm going to pick the Cowboys, but I just trust the Commanders defense to do that 1 or 2 times more than I do the Cowboys defense right now. And that's really unfortunate to say, really sad to say, but I think that's kind of the reality of where we are in the season.
Let's go through some of these fan questions, and if you have some, throw them in, and we'll get to them. Let's see. We had some really good ones. Shout out to Rick. Hey, thank you for checking in. And Kelly, man, you just continue. I appreciate you, girl, for continuing to show up and give us love. Andy McFarland, can they fix the defense with the current personnel? Is it just scheme or a mix of personnel and scheme, the linebackers and edges? We've talked about this quite a bit here on the show, but it's throughout the season, really. But no, they can't with this current personnel.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't think with the personnel you can make the changes. I think you can not fix, but you can help out a lot of the coverage woes with new scheme. But I don't think there's any scheme on God's green earth that can make this run defense play competently with, like I said, how your linebackers are playing and how your interior defensive line has played the last 2 weeks.
How much will Sanborn help?
Did he help when he was in? I mean, it's a good question given how bad they played.
Honestly, I think you get better play than you got against the Panthers. That's if you swap Sanborn for Murray, not Sanborn for James.
Yes.
It's bad. It's bad. Rick asking, should we go man-to-man for outside corners? They have started to play more man on the outside with Bland and Diggs increasingly as the weeks have gone by. The numbers are increasing there. I think you're getting to a point to where that's really going to flip on its head here pretty soon because Diggs is clamoring for it. Not only behind the scenes, but now in the media as well. He's saying the defense has no identity. There's nothing to it. And I think it's going to get to a point to where they're going to have to at least play to the corner strengths. And these are two guys that have led the NFL in interceptions at times in their career. Neither of them have one. And the only guy who has an interception on this defense is Donovan Wilson, and he's lucked into two of them. Lucked into them. You can't tell me that the one against Carolina, sure, him being in the right place, right time, whatever. The one in week 2 against the Giants, it was lobbed right into his lap. That's all the interceptions you have in this defense right now is those two. So yes, you should be playing more man for the outside corners. Allow those guys to get back to their ball hawk instincts.
Yeah, totally agree. Really nothing that I can add there.
Is there any chance that Overshown will be effective after the injury? I think that's probably what you're asking here, Mario. We'll see. It's going to be tough to ask that out of him. I think this is probably more so a situation where you see him ramp up for a few weeks after the injury and really get his feet back under him. It's a tough knee injury, and it's back-to-back. So I don't know what you can expect, Mario.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel really bad for DeMarvion Overshown that he's going to be coming back and have so much pressure on him to be, quote-unquote, the savior of the defense. But he's coming off such a significant injury to a knee that, correct me if I'm wrong, he already has injured before. This is a re-tear of the same knee. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So it's like that is really worrisome. Is he going to be the same kind of athlete that he was before? Obviously it's going to take some time to get the processor up to the level that he was. Just not playing football for as long as he has, it's going to be impossible for him to come and be as effective immediately as he was right when he left. I think in best case scenarios, you hope by week 1 of next year that he's going to be that guy again, because I don't think he's going to be able to be that guy anytime this year. You just want to see him come back, be healthy, and just stack healthy games on top of each other.
Kelly does a really good job here of laying out what the defense is doing and doing wrong, and that we've talked about. I'm curious, what should the defense be doing, John? What should be the scheme here with this personnel?
I basically think the opposite of what they're doing. Instead of static zones, playing more man-to-man coverage, more tight man or zone match coverage is also a good idea. I really think that they should go with the same diet that they had with Mike Zimmer, last year. I really like that coverage diet that they had where they played a lot of man coverage first and second down. And then third down, we're getting wild, baby. We're doing all types of, different coverage disguises, different types of coverages, split field coverages where you're running one coverage to one side, one coverage to another side, giving these quarterbacks a bunch of different looks, making them have to process, making them have to diagnose, just making it really difficult on opposing quarterbacks on those third downs. I think that would be the wisest thing to do. And then obviously from a run defense perspective is you want to load the box. You want to play with either even man fronts or plus fronts. You don't want to have any reduced or minus fronts where they have more players in the box than you do. You have to have that +1 advantage because as you see now, you just don't have the horses up front to be able to consistently be able to just take on blocks and win. So you have to have the numbers advantage. And if you don't have if you have the numbers advantage against the run, that means you're not going to have the numbers advantage in the passing, in coverage. So that means you got to run a lot more man. So that's basically what I would do.
Low air and Sam Williams finds how bad he is funny. Yeah, I think he was more so laughing at the criticism, not necessarily the play, but yeah, it's still not a good look. It's still not a good look. I'm with you. Mario, Nick, is there any amazing linebackers in this year's upcoming draft? I mean, John, you could certainly add here too, but Ohio State has a couple of them, and Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. I like C.J. Allen at Georgia. I like Jacob Rodriguez as well at Texas Tech. There's some good linebackers in this class. This is a deep linebacker class, at least from what I can tell early on. We'll know more in January before I put any final, conclusion on this linebacker class, but it's shaping up to be pretty good.
Yeah, I've been Arvell Reese pilled in the last few days. I've been watching a little bit of him, falling in love with all the different things he does well, whether it be rushing the passer, attacking the run, taking on blocks, playing with good leverage, playing with quick processing, all of those things, He's just such a fantastic football player that he would be. I'm someone who doesn't like drafting linebackers high, but Cowboys linebackers are playing so poor that I tweeted it yesterday. I'm basically in the fuck it draft or Arvell Reese portion of the season.
Yeah, I get it. Kelly, will we get to see Phil Maffa anytime soon? Thank you for asking this one, because I asked Schottenheimer about that today. I said, hey, you lost Miles Sanders for the season last year. Is Phil Maffa going to be a guy you try to get on the practice field? And he basically said no, that they're working through other options. And I wonder what those other options are. I think that's a little fascinating. We'll maybe see what that is here this week. As of right now, the only guys on the active roster playing true running back, are Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue. And the third guy, quote unquote, behind them is Hunter Lipke. If Javonte Williams were to get hurt early in a game, you're kind of screwed. Jaden Blue has 7 carries for 7 yards in his 2 games so far. It hasn't proven to be much. You would be asking a lot out of the rookie there. So, we'll see. We'll see as far as what the plan is there at running back, but apparently they're working through some options. Let's see. Shout out to Mario. Yeah, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. All those.
Shout out to Cy Henderson, my guy, $4.99. Appreciate you, my dude. Really appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you for the love, and we're trying, man. Appreciate the love for sure.
We are broke as hell, so thank you.
Let's see, Mario. Yeah, in case you missed it, he's asking, is Tyler Booker ready? He is ready. Well, he needs to have a good week of practice, but it's all trending in the right direction for Tyler Booker to play on Sunday. Kelly, backing up the love on Trey Amos. I'm a fan. Did you like him coming out, Sean?
Yeah, big fan from Ole Miss. Yeah, I thought he was a great. He wouldn't be a good fit with the coverage they're playing here. I'll tell you that much. He would not be a good fit in the old Eberflus scheme.
Let me double check. I had him at CB4, I believe. CB5. I had him at CB5. I was also factoring in Travis Hunter in there, but I liked me some Trey Amos. Bench Sam Williams, according to Birdman, and he adds on, give Houston Sam Williams a snaps. I agree. Eternal dynasty. I turn the TV off and the defense is on the field. It's tough, man. What is the possibilities that Kenneth Murray will be spying Jalen Daniels? I mean, that's your most realistic option. Now, there has been a little bit of hesitance for some reason to throwing spies out on quarterbacks are going to be a threat with their legs early in the season. We talked about Jalen Hurts. Russell Wilson had to run on him a few times before Kenneth Murray started spying. But Kenneth Murray would be my dedication. John?
Yeah, totally agree. I think he's the guy that has the athleticism to be able to do it. I'm actually also interested in potentially using – Marquise Bell, or Marquesi Bell, as I like to say.
Yes, Marquesi.
Marquise Bell in nickel situations or dime situations on third down. I think he's someone who also could be an effective QB spy in those situations. But, yeah, I mean, if Murray's not going to play the run well and he's not going to do coverage well, might as well just let him run around and try to be athletic.
Okay, this is a fascinating conversation because it's one that's kind of kicked up over the course of the last couple of years. We'll end the show on this one. In both the draft and free agency, is it fair at this point to question this team's ability to evaluate defensive personnel? You look at the hits over the course of the last 5 years. Let's just look in the last 5 years specifically. You could call Michael Parsons a hit. I think you can call Trayvon Diggs a hit. The injuries really messed you up there. You can call Osa Diggy.
I mean, but the Micah Parsons is a hit, but it's not a hit for what they thought it was going to be when they drafted him.
That is very true. They drafted an off-ball linebacker. Exactly. So I'll even give you that they fell into a phenomenal pass rusher by no doing of their own. And that's 3 that I have here. Osa Diggy, Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, Deron Bland. I'll give them credit for Deron Bland, absolutely. Other than that, man, there's been a lot of swings and misses. You talk about the Sam Williamses, the Mozzie Smiths, the Marshawn Nealons at this point in time, bringing in these safeties and just continuing to bring them back year after year. I do have questions. And, if you're going into a 2026 draft and free agency where you need to focus defense, I do question this team's ability to be able to evaluate it correctly. I mean, they go out and say, hey, Kenneth Murray, we want to trade for that guy. Hey, Jack Sanborn, that's going to be our starting linebacker. They had an availability out there. They had opportunities to draft linebackers in the draft. These are the guys that they went with. So, yes, I do have questions for this team's ability to evaluate defensive personnel.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree.
All right. Well, John, this is fantastic. Welcome back from jury duty. Glad you're back into society. I know that's tough.
You and me both, my man. You and me both.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow to preview the Dallas defense versus the Washington offense. It's not going to be pretty. We're going to talk some more storylines, practice, and everything tomorrow. Schottenheimer not speaking tomorrow. It is his birthday tomorrow, though, so shout out to Brian Schottenheimer. But the coordinators will be speaking tomorrow, so I'm curious to see what Matt Eberflus has to answer for when it comes to this run defense and this pass defense, because now it's starting to really stack against him. But we will have more of that tomorrow here on Cross Chop. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Kelly, Smalls HD, Kit Brown, Cy Henderson, thank you for the love. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Mario Cavazos, Low Aaron, Eternal Dynasty, Birdman, everybody that tuned in. Really appreciate you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow, and we'll continue to keep rocking. Everybody stay blessed.